How's it going, YouTube? This is Mr. Gaming for Fun coming at you with another deck profile. This one is for an undefeated first place Gravekeepers. And I'm actually really excited for this. I was playtesting the deck and throwing stuff together for a while. I'm really happy because Royal Tribute came back to 3. And so without further ado, I'm going to give you the deck profile. The matchups were against there was a True King / Draco Kaiju build. Then it was against 6 Samurai. Then Salamangreat, and finally ABC. So that's to give you an idea what I played against, and I was actually really happy with this. So without further ado, again, let's just get right into it. Let's start off with Gravekeeper Spy. Just if it starts slow, this is great to first turn, just play it face down. If it's flip summoned, you get a Gravekeeper with 1500 or less attack from the deck to the field. That's going to pretty much be the majority of the deck, except Commandant, because he's 1600, but you only use him for his terraforming effect, so it's no big deal. After that is Triple Recruiter. He was kind of the ace of the deck today, and that's just because of his effect. If it's sent to the graveyard, you get a Gravekeeper's monster with 1500 or less defense from the deck to the hand. And just non-stop searches. You use that with Descendant. You pop their stuff, you get a search. After that, 3 Commandant. It's not a Gravekeeper's deck if you can't search out Necro Valley immediately. And if you're not searching out with him, you're either playing him onto the field to get a 21 beat stick, or you can use him as fusion material. But mainly his effect will be to ditch himself and get the field spell. After that, 3 Spiritualists, one of the new support cards that came out about, I want to say a year ago because it's 2019. That stuff came out in Soul Fusion, which was last October. And with her effect, you can fusion summon without polymerization. If Necro Valley's on your field, you fusion summon 1 Spellcaster Fusion, which that's Supernaturalist. Hopefully we get a different fusion, or we get link support for this archetype. And you only use herself and the other monster. And so that's really nice because you can pitch Commandant, play Necro Valley after you get it to your hand, play her, and then fusion summon into their boss. After that, the last 2 monsters, there's 2 copies of each. You got Descendant, which is a not once per turn effect. So this was before the whole once per turn shtick that Konami's making on cards nowadays. You tribute a Gravekeeper's monster except him, and you destroy 1 card the opponent controls. I was able to pop 3 cards in 1 turn. I had him and Commandant on the field. I summoned the next card I want to show you, Headman. And Headman special summons from the grave, and I got a Spy back. So I just did 3 tributes right there, and I removed their board. So that was actually pretty nice. This card is really well, and works really well, and it's just a 2000 beat stick if you don't have anything tribute. After that is Headman, the last of the monsters. When this card is summoned, doesn't say if it's special or normal. It says target a level 4. It can't be any Gravekeeper. It has to be exactly level 4. In your grave, special summon it in face up attack or face down defense, and the card gets around Necro Valley as per the last effect. And you can only use its effect once per turn. Sad to say, it's one of the newer cards, so once per turn clauses are still in effect. And so that one with Descendant, I was able to combo and get rid of the opponent's stuff. And then we're going to move on to the spells. And without if you're not playing Gravekeepers, then this isn't a card for you. But Necro Valley, one of the best cards. I've got one of the older versions, but it's been errated so much. I think like 7 or 8 times. And the best way to describe it is if something is in the graveyard, it cannot be moved. It cannot be banished. It cannot be recovered back to the hand like Monster Reincarnation or Monster Reborn. You can't even special summon stuff back. And that's the best way to summarize it. And this card came in so handy because it stops the ABC materials from leaving the grave. It stops Salamangreat graveyard effects. And that was like the only 2 things that it really helped out on. But aside from that, all Gravekeepers gain 500 attack and defense. So if you're sitting on a Gravekeeper Spy, you've got a 2500 booty on the board, and you don't have to worry too much about it. So that one really came in handy. And then after that, we got Necro Valley Throne, which if you're playing Gravekeepers, this is one of the new support cards that's basically a 3 of. Either it's a Rhoda for the deck, just add a Gravekeeper's monster from deck to hand, does not have to be specified level. And then the other effect is a double summon. You get to immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon one Gravekeeper's monster. So that comes in handy here and there. But just like with the newer stuff, it is a once per turn only type of thing. Sad to say. Wish it was more than once per turn. And after that, here's the newest card that came in handy, guys. Off the ban list at 3, so full power Gravekeepers. We got 3 Royal Tributes, which came in handy so well because I could get this out first turn because I have Necro Valley on board. I would draw into this, and a lot of times I was taking up 4 or even 5 cards from the opponent's hand before their turn started. And because Necro Valley was on board, if anything activated to a special summon or whatever from the grave, then it wouldn't happen. So Royal Tribute back to 3. There's a reason why I was at 1 for so long, and now it's back to 3. Gravekeepers are a great rogue deck if any of you are planning on playing the deck. And the next card I'm going to show you was actually the #1 MVP of the deck for today, because no one expected it, no one could get around it, and it was knucking futs, guys. And we have it right here, 2 copies of Hidden Temples of Necro Valley. Now the best way to describe this is it's a Vanity's Emptiness except for Gravekeeper monsters. You have to have the field spell and a Gravekeeper's on the field to activate it. And the best salty reaction was by one of the players saying he didn't even know this card existed. That was the moment I knew that this was such a good choice. And so it stopped the True King stuff from being special summoned. It stopped 6 Samurai. Salaman Great could not function. And it stopped ABCs. And it was the funniest thing to have it on board. And there were a few times I was able to end my turn with the field spell and this card. And it was beautiful. I mean, if you guys could have seen it, you guys would have loved it. So if you're planning on playing Gravekeepers because of this video, congratulations. And if you are, you got to do 2 of these, because one of them gets removed from like Cosmic Cyclone or whatever. 2 is the perfect ratio. So this card right here, guys, MVP of the day. This is the one, the go-to, the big boy itself. After that, we have Gravekeeper Steel, which I never saw all day. And I thought it would be good, but it's probably one card that I'll plan on taking out. Alright, and then after that is nothing but draw power. So we got the 1 Upstart Goblin, the 3 Paw Duality, and then the 3 Card of Demise. So most of the deck, I want to say more than half of the deck, is spells and traps. And you're special summoning here and there, not constantly. So the drawbacks are not too bad. And if you have to wait a turn to inflict damage thanks to Demise, it's not that much of a deal. Both of them prevent you from special summoning. So I was thinking Demise was after you or you can do all your special summons and then activate it, but I'd have to look at the ruling. So not too much of a drawback for you on the most part, and I definitely recommend these 7 cards if you're just playing it. I've tested Allure of Darkness, I've tested the Spellbook engine, and after like 2 weeks of practicing, this is the ratio that I like with specific cards. And now we're going to get into the traps. So we got 1 Necro Valley Temple, which continuous trap that states while Gravekeeper's monster and Necro Valley are both on the field. So if you're doing a Gravekeeper's mirror match, this one still affects you, or affects the opponent, I mean, because while it's on the field, your opponent's monsters lose 500 attack and defense. So if you summon, like, let's say Commandant, or better example would be Descendant, because it's got 1500. If your opponent had something with 1500, there'd be 1000 attack difference. There's a 500 boost on the field spell and a 500 decrease on this card. So 1,000 difference makes a big difference for the stats. And this card came in handy against like True Kings and all the boss monsters that needed to be brought down. And then once per turn during the main phase, so either player's turn, if you have no field spell card in the field zone, you can activate a Necro Valley from the hand or grave. And so that's great recovery if the opponent is able to destroy your Necro Valley if you can't protect it. And then if this card is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to the grave, you get to set one Necro Valley spell or trap from the deck and not another copy of itself. But that basically means the Necro Valley spells or traps that you have in this deck, aside from this card, you can set them. And that comes in really handy if it ever happens. After that, we've got 9 negations. We have 3 Imperial Tombs of Necro Valley. It's a Solemn Judgment, or the better comparison would be Infernity Barrier. If you have a Necro Valley and a Gravekeeper's monster on the field, this negates spells, traps, or monster effects when they're activated. And it's only a once per turn. I know people, I've seen, I was watching a bunch of videos and how Gravekeepers were being ran. They were doing 1 or even 2 of these. I like having 3 just to make sure I can get into it as fast as possible. And then after that's the Solemn package, which you got 3 strikes and 3 judgments. And the reason I'm not running Warning is more often than not, you'll go into normal summon and into special summoning from what I've seen with my opponents, so I don't really need to waste an extra slot on a summon prevention, because most of the time, like the best example why Strike came in handy was against Salamangrates. When they'd summon Gazelle or whatever, activate the effect, I can just stop it with Strike and make sure I can survive another turn. So that's the main deck. I'm probably going to take out Gravekeeper Steel. I'm just going to reduce the card count. I'm trying to get to close to 40 as possible. And I probably should reduce Imperial Tombs, but to be honest, I think Gravekeeper Steel is the only card that's going to come out. After that's the extra deck, which we got 3 Supernaturalists. It's Gravekeepers. You can fusion summon like crazy with the non-stop things, and it has links, so you can potentially bring out all 3 of these if you're somehow able to. This card, one of the newer Soul Fusion support cards, we could really use a link for this deck if I had to be honest, just because we have this guy. If it's in the extra monster zone, we got to worry about Cyber Dragons for Chimera Tech, or any deck that's using Chimera Tech. And the materials for this are 2 Gravekeepers, which that's the whole deck. And it says gains attack and defense equal to the combined original levels of the materials times 100. So it'll either be a +7 or 800 attack, depending on what materials you use with Spiritualist. The other effect is while Necro Valley is on the field, this card and Necro Valley, or any card in your field zone, which Necro Valley, cannot be destroyed by card effects. I had people trying to Ghost Ogre this. I had people trying to destroy Necro Valley, and it just wasn't working. And another reason why they were getting extra salty. And then the other effect is during the main phase. So it's either main phase 1 or 2. It doesn't specify. This card will activate, and what that means is on your end phase, the effect activates. So you have to activate it during the main phase for it to kick off in the end phase, which that was probably one of the dumbest things I thought about this card, but it's there. It could be errated or fixed where it's like, hey, just activate it, there you go. The effect is during the end phase, you can add a Gravekeeper's monster or a Necro Valley card from the deck to hand. It searches out all the monsters, the Imperial Tombs, or the non-draw power spell cards, and essentially it just searches out the whole deck. I was sitting on this at 32 to 3,300 every game that I could get it out, which was out of, let's see, where there was 4 matches, 12 games, or 11 games, because it was 3, 2, 3, 3 for the best 2 out of 3, and I was able to get it out about 9 or 10 games out of every match. So this was a really nice way to play it, because I would just sit on that and not have to worry about losing it. And they couldn't summon anything over 3,000 thanks to hidden temples. So after that's just kind of stuff I threw together, not too crazy. I threw in Gaga Cowboy, Exiton Knight, the Utopia package. I'm using Utopia, number S39, and then Lightning, which Lightning's the only one I've got in Spanish right here. I like it though. That's one of my favorites. Just kind of in there, but more often than not, you're just going to go into fusing, so you don't have to worry. The only link monster I used was Wee Witch's Apprentice, because the deck had other stuff, and I'm actually considering using those slots for what I know is going to be big meta cards for Winter Cherries. But this one right here, on top of Necro Valley, gave Supernaturalist an extra 1,000. So I had Supernaturalist at 20. Let's see, it was at 28. Plus the 5 from Necro Valley, plus the 5 from this. I had it at 3,800 more often than not when I did both of them out onto the field. And then if it's sent to the graveyard, then, or if it's destroyed by battle or card effects sent to the graveyard, you target a dark monster in your grave, add it to your hand. That's not going to work with Necro Valley. And I was just using it in there for a link pointer, so I wouldn't have to worry about Cyber Dragons. And oh, it was really good. This one definitely worth running as the only link monster for the deck. The other stuff was just Cerberus, Phoenix, Decode Talker. Then you got Griffin and Borreload, which I'm sorry, it's common, all I have. But no, the other stuff, I mean, for your extra deck, you're really only gonna need Supernaturalist and Wee Witch's Apprentice, and the other stuff can pretty much be anything if you want it to. Even the Wee Witches you can take out. So then we're going to go into the side, which I love this guy, which is why I kept him in there. But Visionary. Tribute 1 Gravekeepers to normal summon this. It gains 200 for each Gravekeepers in your graveyard. And if it would be destroyed, you pitch a Gravekeepers monster instead. It'll be 25 thanks to Necro Valley. If you have 3 or 4... Gravekeepers in the grave, you can essentially get this out with like 3,700 easily, thanks to all the cards in the graveyard, the easy summoning condition, and the fact that you've got Necro Valley on board. After that, Gravekeeper Spear Soldier. It was just in there if somehow the opponent was playing cards that needed to be in defense with low defense, and I could just do in piercing damage. Then Raw Sphere Mode was in there just because remove their board for 3 monsters and bring it out. I should probably throw in the other version of Raw so I can summon it. But yeah, that's the monsters for the side deck. After that, it's kind of a spellbook engine, which 3 spellbook of knowledge, 2 spellbook of secrets. Knowledge I like, just if you send Recruiter with it, you draw 2 and you get a search of Gravekeepers, but with the draw power it has, you don't really need these. I'm probably thinking of taking all 5 of these out and putting something else in there. Like I said, Winter Cherries, and then some other stuff. If you guys have any ideas what you're seeing with my deck, I'd appreciate the comments and what you guys would think, or what you guys would think of changing, I should say. After that, I had another Gravekeeper Steel, which this is going to come out, that ultra rare is going to go into the side, and I'm only going to use 1. I don't even need it in the main deck because of how it plays, but it's just there. After that, we've got Terraforming. If any of you are wondering why I wasn't putting this in the main deck, it was because you have Commandant, and you have Necro Valley Throne, and you have the Trap card. So you have about like 7 ways right then and there to get Necro Valley out. And this was in the side deck. I am running a second field spell, and you guys are going to be able to see that right now. And this was the only reason I threw it in there, because it's not searchable by Gravekeepers. And that is Secret Village of the Spellcaster. Something that people forget is Gravekeepers are nothing but spellcasters, even their fusion monster. And from the fusion monster, it says, well, this card is on the field, any card in your field zone. But that's only if Necro Valley's on the field. Now, the way you could combo that is you have this card, Supernaturalist, and Priestess, who treats the field as Necro Valley. I gotta look into that ruling, but I'm pretty sure that would be possible. I threw it in there just in case I was going up against spell heavy decks. I threw this in during my side for the Salamangreat matchups, and the opponent was getting rid of this more than anything else because they didn't want to lose their options of using spell cards. And then for the last card is another copy of Temple, just in case it seems like I'm going to need it, but that one is probably going to be... I'm going to leave the second one in there just because it recovers from graveyard, and if they destroy it while it's face down, I get a Necro Valley Speller Trap card from the deck and set it. But yeah, the deck did really well compared to what I thought. It was such a good time playing all this stuff, guys. And if any of you are here in Texas, let me know. I'm over in Kerrville at Heart of the Cards. If you guys want to come play, that's where I played this week. If you go on like their Facebook page, then they'll probably be posting the picture. I took a picture holding Necro Valley, Royal Tribute, and Hidden Temples, and they gave me like a little belt to hold, like a championship wrestling belt. It was so much fun, guys. So if any of you are willing to drive over or you're nearby, definitely come check out Heart of the Cards, because it was a blast. And the other thing is, if anyone plays Dragon Ball and wants to go over there, we're trying to set up people to come play Dragon Ball. But want to let you guys know about the Gravekeeper deck. This one, I'm posting it immediately today, so you have a chance to see it. Let me know in the comments what you take out, what you would change. And I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you have a good one. And until next time, like, comment, subscribe, click the bell icon, yada, yada, yada. And I will see you guys later. Have a good one.